Welcome to the Human Capital Innovations Podcast, your go-to source for personal, professional, and organizational growth and development. We hope you tune in often for all things people management, organizational development and change, organizational leadership, and social impact related. Maximize your personal and organizational potential with Human Capital Innovations Podcast. Welcome to the Human Capital Innovations Podcast. In this HCI podcast episode, I talk with Nassim Abdi about inclusivity in the hybrid workplace. Nassim Abdi, welcome to the Human Capital Innovations Podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It is a real pleasure to have you joining us today from Chicago. I'm here south of Salt Lake City in Orem, Utah. And today we're going to be focusing on inclusivity. Inclusivity generally, and we'll get into particulars of that, but also more specifically within the hybrid workplace. As well, hopefully we're coming out of this pandemic soonish, but certainly as things have progressed over the last 18 months, we've seen more and more people move into virtual work and then back into the workplace or some sort of hybrid arrangement. And I think this new hybrid type of context will be really what is typical for most people moving into the future. And that raises a whole bunch of opportunities and challenges for having an inclusive workplace. So these are the things that we'll be exploring together today. As we get started, I just wanted to share Nassim's bio with everybody. Nassim Abdi, PhD, is the award-winning founder of Storybolt, a corporate inclusion training company that uses the power of storytelling to change corporate culture. Storybolt has developed active learning techniques utilizing films and facilitated conversation to inspire empathy and drive leadership towards building more inclusive workplaces. Storybolt's novel approach to inclusive training is trusted by several Fortune 500s and large companies, from Google Cloud to Brad's Deals. As an educator, actor, storyteller, and inclusion evangelist, Nassim has adapted her decades of experience into addressing the widespread need for empathy-centric DEI solutions in the modern workplace. I love everything about that background. Anything else you would like to share with listeners by way of your background before we really launch on it?
Oh, thank you. And thanks for going through all that long explanation about who we are and who I am. I'm an immigrant, I want to add, and Nassim Abdi, pronouns she, her. And everything that we do about inclusion is part of also my personal and professional mission in life. And also my co-founder had the same experience. So we do it from heart. It's not just a job that we are doing, if that makes sense. It's something that we really do it with all heart and with all, like, as a mission of our lives.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I think we all need to be looking for our meaning, our purpose, so we can find fulfillment in the work that we do. I think the DE&I space is, particularly oriented that way for people who engage in this work, because it's really tough, a hard slog, I think, for a lot of people to be able to try to move the needle. So I think you have to be pretty passionate about it to try to really stay consistent and sustain that effort.
Absolutely.
Well, excellent. As we get started, maybe you can share a little bit more about Storybolt. How did you get started with that? And tell us a little bit more about Storybolt generally, but also your active learning and empathy methodology.
Absolutely, yes. So Storybolt is a company that we've co-founded to bring candid conversations with the power of stories and storytellers to involve cognitive empathy. Our empathy model uses a pedagogical model that emphasizes on stories in form of documentary films, award-winning documentary films, to create an immersive learning experience for active learning on inclusion and understanding other people's. in a sort of way that they can walk in other people's shoes and understand what they experience. And we do also have a measurable attitude change pedagogical model that goes with this series that we offer to companies and corporations for leadership level and also workforce to create a better culture of belonging. As you said, it's like something that we all thrive for these days, and we make sure that we create the opportunity to really understand what empathy is in all different aspects on diversity, equity, inclusion, and also like really measuring how much we are moving the needle on that. Where it started from, actually, honestly, from a different world. I was in academia. I was teaching in a classroom, trying to engage my students with topics that were very close to my heart. And I was teaching social justice education and women's studies, and always trying to find innovative ways to engage them. And like, yeah, as we know, Generation Z, they don't follow a 45 minutes lecture. That's not their way of learning. And one day they challenged me with a topic that was very close to my heart about impact of war on people. As I shared, I'm an immigrant from the Middle East, and I experienced it all, unfortunately, when it comes to stories around war. And I thought that if I share my personal story, I can engage them with the issue, and we can talk about potential like challenges and like what can we do as citizens and all that. And my dream was that they're going to jump and say that they don't want to do another final exam or another paper. They want to do something like an action project. And none of that happened, Jonathan. They were busy with their devices and text messaging. And it was really, to be honest with you, frustrating day for me as a person who experienced it in real life. And my only two students who came to me after that day were my two veteran students who really understood what I was talking about. And we had a really great chat about all different experiences we had. But the rest were not engaged. They couldn't relate to my stories. And I started thinking, like, how can I change that? If I can't teach about the most important topic of my life, what else can I teach about? And I happened to be the leading actress of a film that was featured on Netflix and got awarded at Venice Film Festival, a theatrical tour in the US and Europe. None of that because of me, all of that because of a brilliant director. But it gave me that experience to observe when people watch a story and someone from that story walks outside and talks about the story. It just brings the story to life and creates a magic sauce for engagement. With all the screening and Q&As that we had, I experienced that I made my best friends through those Q&As. It was such a candid conversation we had that I didn't need to explain anything further. We just started opening up and talk. So I decided that maybe that experience can help my students really relate to my stories. And I was lucky I found a good documentary about the issue. So long story short, next session, we started with that documentary, and I was successful in engaging the filmmaker from Brooklyn, New York, to join on video chat. And the same group of students who had no answers for me, or no questions for me, rather, they had the most brilliant questions for the filmmaker, and they were gazed on screen watching the film. So that was it. When I saw that, I started searching for a platform that does it for all other topics, that you could search, find a story, real story about issues, and also connect with the storyteller who has hours of behind the camera stories. And when I couldn't find that platform, I quit my teaching position, said goodbye to a tenure track offer, and my co-founder, Babak, who is the king of edutainment, and he was exiting his third company, we got together and created a team of brilliant people who are really doing all the hard work right now. And we have more than 4,000 short documentaries from all around the world, from 112 countries to be more specific. And that's exactly what we do for companies and corporations now, to create empathy. And they watch real stories and talk about it. Yeah.
Well, I love that. I love the use of storytelling to convey these important messages Diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging topics are tough. When you're talking about implicit biases, when you're talking about prejudice, when you're talking about these sorts of issues, people get defensive. A lot of people tune out, and it really can be hard. But the best way that I've found to help people open their minds a little bit and challenge maybe their preconceived notions, their biases, is to just give them an experience with difference, give them an experience with people who are struggling, who are from marginalized populations and such. And that's hard to bring into a corporate training, because unless you're like taking everyone out to different places. And so the use of storytelling through film, I think is genius. It's a way to, in really compelling ways, to share those stories of other people with these individuals, and then facilitate really great conversations to as people are exploring and sitting in the discomfort of just recognizing their privilege and recognizing where others come from really hard backgrounds, and what we can do about that, right? To make an equitable workplace, and a place where everyone feels like they belong and really have a true opportunity to contribute in meaningful ways on a regular basis.
Absolutely, absolutely. I can agree more with what you said. Like, these are not easy conversations. These are really tough, and we need to open minds and open hearts at the same time to get engaged in these conversations. And the beautiful thing about storytelling, and specifically documentary films, is it creates a non-threatening way to do that. So when you have a narrative story, it changes our brain chemistry. It produces oxytocin and cortisol, which activates some part of our brains, those like fires up those neurons that helps with understanding and connecting with others. It's exactly the chemicals we need for empathy, to feel empathy. And that's exactly the right time to start the conversation. Like when we have that situation, when we can walk in other people's shoes and really understand their situation, is when we can have those real conversations. And to your point, it's for companies and corporations, it's not an easy thing to do, to take them out in a busy day that they have. So the beautiful thing about this series that we offer to companies is everything happens under 1 hour, or max 90 minutes. They watch a real story, and then they have a chance to talk with these storytellers from all around the world live. They can just engage in a facilitated conversation. Yeah.
I'm excited to announce the publication of my new book from HCI Press, Bluer Than Indigo Leadership: The Journey of Becoming a Truly Remarkable Leader. Early in my adult life, I learned about an Asian proverb that translates as bluer than indigo. If you think about the color indigo, it is a brilliant, deep, and vibrant blue, what some would call the bluest of blues. To have something that is bluer than indigo is rare and truly remarkable. Contrary to popular myth, there is no one-size-fits-all or cookie-cutter approach to effective leadership. There's no silver bullet, no secret sauce, no go-to model that will solve all of our problems. The truth is, great leaders have all had their unique strengths and flaws, and have all had to discover and then pave their own distinctive path in their life's journey to fulfill their leadership potential. Bluer Than Indigo Leadership will help you discover your own path and explore those ordinary, everyday actions that will help you respond to an uncertain future and produce extraordinary results for individuals, teams, and organizations. Yeah, I really like that. So let's talk about how you do this in a more virtual or hybrid kind of a workplace arrangement. And actually, maybe before we even do that, maybe we can talk about some of the challenges and opportunities that the hybrid or virtual workforce provides or presents as we move into the future of work.
Yeah, absolutely. The last 1.5 years has been a really difficult time, really trying times for all of us around the world. I don't know if you're hearing the background noise here, but I'm here sitting home because my little one got sick and couldn't go to school today. And that's the situation that many people at companies and corporations are experiencing every day. Um, Being able to work and really get engaged in work, and at the same time manage all the other things that are happening in your background, is not an easy thing. It's not uh, really an ideal situation to manage. Uh, but at the same time, here is our reality, and we need to really work on that and find out what are the ways to create the most not only not satisfaction but also productivity for people who are trying to survive in these situations. I was reading an article the other day that was a brilliant had a brilliant title, and the article was very interesting on Forbes, that was saying like CEO maybe is the new acronym for Chief Empathy Officer, because during these times of hybrid work and work from home is actually the time that we most need that inclusivity and that empathy for leadership to understand the workplace, the workforce and their situation, and how they have to deal with all changing and constantly changing situation at home and work. There was some data there that was pretty interesting, that 33% of women of color who didn't have empathetic leaders left their workplace, and 18%, only 18% of women of color who had leaders who cared about their situation left their workplace. So I think it just gives us an idea of like, if we are more inclusive, if we learn how to be more inclusive and have more empathy for our team and people who are working with us, we are increasing the chance of more creativity, more innovation, more performance, higher performance, all that. So I guess they're all related, and there are challenges that we are dealing with, but also there are opportunities that we could, if we do it right, we can really benefit from that. Like we have this opportunity of being connected to all around the world now. We learned it pretty fast and in a sort of crash course to how to do it efficiently, to work remote. But it comes with challenges, as you mentioned as well. Like being inclusive is even more important now than before.
Yeah, because we have more distributed workforces than ever before. So we're working with people from all different backgrounds, walks of life, culture, all kind of the more obvious visual differences in terms of race, ethnicity, gender, those sorts of things, of course, were common as part of this discussion before, and they continue to be common now. But just even the subtle nuances of different culture and mind framings and mindsets as people from different walks of life, different backgrounds, different socioeconomic status, whatever, all of those people, have the opportunity to come together in a distributed workforce. How do you help everyone to feel included? How do you help everyone to feel part of the team and not a second class citizen or in some way inferior, or that they fear that they don't have the same opportunities as the white men in the room or in the Zoom call or whatever? How do you ensure that everyone has an opportunity to contribute when you're virtual or when you're hybrid? I think this raises other important issues when we're talking about hybrid, because disproportionately those who will take advantage of virtual options when they have hybrid flexibility are those from more traditionally marginalized populations, because they disproportionately have to take care of things like the child care, the elder care, like you're at home right now with your child, and that is something that women disproportionately take on that role. And so what happens if you have, say, a diverse team, like you have people from different races, ethnicities, genders, whatever, but disproportionately, the women are on the virtual call while the men are in the room physically together? What does that look like in terms of opportunities for assignments and for promotions and just the interactions that happen organically when you're together face to face, and the challenges that can come when you're doing that, virtually. These are all the types of questions we have to be asking ourselves as we're trying to continue our diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging efforts in a more complex kind of world of work. It was hard before. I suspect it'll be even harder moving forward to make sure that we're addressing all these issues.
That we are addressing all these issues. Absolutely. I'm one of the lucky ones that I have the support of my partner, my husband, to change days when we need to. And I didn't have to leave the work due to the situation. Many people, more marginalized people, had to even leave their work because of the situation. And there's still increasing numbers when it comes to women, unfortunately, for leaving work and going to this hybrid remote situation with all the challenges that are still out there, and being caregiver of elderly parents or children. We still have a long way to go, but even with this current situation, how to take care of inclusion, there's a brilliant saying that I heard it once, that and I revised it somehow with another colleague that we were chatting about it, that diversity is inviting people to a party. And the original saying that we read at Harvard Business Review was that inclusion is inviting them to dance. And we said, no, it's not just inviting them to dance, because we don't want them to dance with any music that we are putting in the party. It's inviting them to be the co-host, to design the party and choose the music, which, to your point, as we're moving to this remote and hybrid work, it's really important. If we are having diverse people around the table, we are inviting them to work with us, to be in the party, to ask them what is the comfortable situation for them to participate, to what should be the design of the meetings, what is the most convenient way for them to be fully present and be part of the decision making, and not just following and fitting in. That's one of the challenges with diversity and inclusion, that many times we invite diverse workforce to our workplaces and then we leave it there. We expect them to fit in and to be like the majority who used to be, who had the privilege to design the workplace. And if they don't follow that, then we call them unprofessional. So it's really important how to change that approach and how to really let the beautiful, diverse voices around the table to design and tell us what it is to make them comfortable. What are the time zones differences? What are the kind of communication models that we can have? Feedback is a gift. If we decide to accept those gifts and let them give us those gifts of redesigning the way that we are communicating, redesigning the way that we are doing the decision making, is really important. Another thing that comes very important, might be very simple, might be common sense, but it's so many times get forgotten in a hybrid situation, is when you are not in the same place, in the same room together to collaborate, to make decisions, to do work, that means not everybody has the same access or same level of voice. When the meeting ends, people who are in the room continue the conversation and make decisions, and those who are on Zoom or any other like video conferencing platform, they have to leave and go to the next thing. And just imagine how it's going to change the dynamic and the way that we are working if the decisions are being made by those who are in the room, and those who are not in the room, in the real room, going to be just left behind in all these decisions, and they have to follow everything that they were not part of.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, in our last little bit of time we have together, maybe you can describe how at Storybolt you help organizations that have moved to a hybrid model to deal with these issues. Because it's one thing when everyone's face to face and you have like a big corporate training, kind of the traditional model. What do you do when people are remote, or you have some in person, some remote?
So the beautiful thing about Storybolt is it's all virtual. It has been even virtual before the COVID hit, because we have filmmakers coming from 112 countries around the world. So for them, and for the documentary films that are virtual experiences, has been always virtual. Now we have this opportunity to bring in all the workforces from all different parts, and we are working with like 1,000 Fortune companies around the world, and they have like team members from all different parts of the world. But they can now join the sessions, the virtual sessions live, and they can be part of this experience to collectively watch a story, which is another part of collective learning experience, and then have this opportunity to talk and discuss about topics that are related to that story, to that topic. And that's one of the ways that companies and corporations started building those like stronger teams, more empathy, and more opening hearts and minds for having really candid conversations about topics that are important in productivity, topics that are important in team building, and being more inclusive as well.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's a real strength of your platform and your approach. Nassim, it has just been a real pleasure talking with you today, getting your insights and having you share your experiences with me and my listeners. I note the time and we're about out of time today, but before we close, I wanted to give you a chance to share with listeners how they can get connected with you, find out more about your work, more about your team, and then give us a final word on the topic for today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jonathan. Likewise, I very much enjoyed the conversation. You can always find us at storybolt.com and LinkedIn. We are very active on LinkedIn, and we will have pretty soon an open house for those who would like to experience what we have, and also have webinars that are coming up. So check our LinkedIn page, Storybolt LinkedIn page, and also my personal LinkedIn page is always there to connect. And let's, these difficult days that we are all experiencing, have more empathy for each other and open our minds and hearts to really understand each other's from all different walks of life that we are coming from. Let's walk in each other's shoes, not just trying to talk about it, get real about it. And that's the real meaning of inclusivity.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much, Nassim. It has been a real pleasure. I encourage listeners to reach out, to get connected, find out more about Nassim and her team can do for you. Check out Storybolt and all the great resources and the ability they have to help you with your DE&I work. And as always, I hope everyone can stay healthy and safe, that you can find meaning and purpose at work each and every day. And I hope you all have a great week. The alchemy of truly remarkable leadership. Ordinary, everyday actions that produce extraordinary results. Consider how the nature of work has shifted over the past 50 years. With increased globalization, rapid technological advancement, and the shift in economic composition, the average job of today looks very different than the average job of 50 years ago. What will the jobs and organizations of tomorrow look like? Moreover, what does this all mean for organizational leaders? What are the core competencies and capabilities of organizations and their leadership that are prepared for continued disruption and geopolitical and socioeconomic shifts? Regardless of what the future holds, increasingly, leaders need to be socially minded, data-driven, decisive, champions of talent, and disruptors of the traditional notions of leadership, teams, organizations, and work. The alchemy of truly remarkable leadership will help you to explore your own leadership competencies and capabilities and consider ways to apply and implement them into your workplace and personal life.
check out Human Capital Innovations magazine, Human Capital Leadership. Human Capital Leadership is a free, interactive e-magazine with the mission to help individuals, leaders, and organizations find innovative approaches to maximize their human capital potential. We publish issues quarterly in August, November, February, and May. Take a look at the latest issue and let us know what you think.
Thanks again for joining us for this episode of the Human Capital Innovations Podcast. I hope you stay healthy and safe and that you have a great week.